Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Legacy Speaks. My name is Sierra Hillsman, licensed psychotherapist and your wellness coach. Today, we're going to dive into what it looks like to effectively communicate our emotions. Oftentimes, when it comes to dealing with clients, I see that it's a struggle to not only identify our emotions, but also to say what it is that we're truly feeling. And so let's talk about why it's important to even communicate our emotions, right? When we're building healthy relationships with other people, if we're struggling to say how we feel when we're actually feeling it, that can lead to disruptions in our communication. This also looks like shutting down, practicing avoidance, backing away, withdrawing and isolating. It also leads to increased anger and maybe even aggression in our relationship. But before we dive right in, I need you to hit that subscription button below. That way you can stay up to date on newly released content on a regular basis. Alright y'all, I'm about to make it real easy peasy lemon squeezy for y'all, and we're gonna dive right in. So the first thing that we need to realize is that even though our feelings are valid, they are not fact. We are complex human beings with complex emotions, and it's okay to honor that. It's okay to recognize that. And honestly, the length of time that we spend in a specific feeling is determined based upon how often we ruminate on it or how much energy we dedicate to it. So understanding that, okay, yes, I'm feeling this feeling, but I don't necessarily have to stay in that specific feeling altogether. We need to make sure that we are not negating our emotions. For a number of us, we're used to pushing it down, maybe even bypassing it, ignoring it, pretending like our feelings aren't even real. Unaddressed emotions manifest in other ways, and this can look like not only our thoughts but also our behavior as well. So it's important for us to claim time to be able to sort through our emotions. That way we can be able to move forward with communicating it. Another thing that helps with effectively communicating our emotions is expanding our feeling words vocabulary. What I often find when I'm asking clients, hey, how did that make you feel? What emotions came up for you? They usually default to happy, mad, or sad. And I'm like, y'all, there's a whole chart out there that has an array of emotions. And so it's important for us to claim time to be able to figure out what feeling word gives us a better understanding or effectively conveys what it is that we are experiencing. For example, if you feel angry in a particular moment, you can be experiencing more than just anger. You can be dealing with bitterness or maybe even frustration or feeling violated or agitated, and utilizing another word like happiness that looks like joy or being exuberant. Taking time to expand your emotion words, that way you can be able to have something that effectively conveys what you're experiencing at hand. Once we have our feeling words, then we can utilize a simple yet profound formula when expressing how we feel. All right, speaking of which, let's put it together, right? I feel blank when blank. Simple. That simple. I statements are very powerful. We learn to take ownership of our emotions instead of shifting blame. I get a lot of clients who have the tendency of utilizing you. Well, when you feel like this, you know, sometimes you act like this, or well, when people do this, you know, what would you expect? And I'm like, no. Let's turn those you statements into I statements. That way we can take ownership of how we're feeling instead of trying to detach ourselves from how we feel, or maybe even trying to get somebody to empathize or sympathize with us. How can we effectively expect somebody to gain a better understanding of how we're feeling if we're speaking in second or third person? Now, after you utilize I feel blank, insert that feeling word and adding when and then whatever it is that you are experiencing afterwards, you really dial in and you hone in on what caused that particular feeling. You're identifying what prompted these feelings to occur. It's another way of increasing mindfulness and maybe even slowing down when it comes to having a behavioral chain analysis. So you're sitting back and you're saying, okay, these emotions are coming up for me. What exactly happened in order for me to feel the way that I'm feeling right now? now? Is it something that happened yesterday? Is it something that happened in the moment? Is it something that happened 10 years ago? You know, what exactly am I experiencing in that moment that is causing these emotions to happen? And then what can I do in order to mitigate how I'm feeling in this very, very moment? Do I need to apply a specific coping skill? Do I need to call a friend or a loved one and tap into my social support? Do I need to just take some time away to be able to figure out what's going on both mentally and emotionally and spiritually? And so when you're able to utilize that formula and just lay it out clearly, you're able to, one, paint the picture on specifically on what's going on, and then start to figure out, okay, what in my toolkit can I utilize to mitigate these emotions? Speaking of social support, when we are effectively communicating our emotions, understand that this is a two-way street. This is a dialogue. So understand that, okay, if I'm feeling the way I'm feeling, consider providing a solution to how we can move from point A to point B. So not only are we taking ownership of our feelings, but we're also creating space by operating in openness and willingness to allow people to assist us with how we are feeling. Now, you might not want to ask for help from the person who is causing you to feel this way immediately. On the flip side, you might want to work collaboratively with that person to resolve whatever issue you have. Whatever you think works best for you, go ahead and do that. Utilize the power of choice as we are navigating our emotions. Sometimes we don't even need to phone a friend or maybe even pull somebody in when it comes to navigating our emotions. Oftentimes when we are dealing with a difficult or uncomfortable emotion, we're trying to hurry up and get rid of it immediately. We're trying to slap toxic positivity on top of it, or maybe even pretend like we're being super optimistic, or we're trying to brush past it like nothing has ever happened. However, it's important for us to learn how to feel what our feelings feel like in our body, utilizing that data to be able to process what is going on. Sometimes our feelings show up like tension in our shoulders, or maybe even rapid heartbeat, or maybe even headaches or migraines, or maybe even butterflies in your gut. There are a number of ways in which our emotions show up in the body, and so it's important for us to take heed to that, to be mindful of that, because our mind and our body are often sending messages to one another. They are very interconnected. They are so interdependent, and we do not need to separate that connection, okay? Take that information, utilize it how you wish, and proceed mindfully moving forward. All right, y'all, that's pretty much it in a nutshell. But before we head out, I do want to do a quick recap just to make sure that you got it, okay? So first things first is to honor your emotions by recognizing that your feelings do exist. Feelings are valid, but they are not fact. Secondly, let's claim some time to be able to expand our emotions vocabulary, grab a feelings wheel, or maybe even look up some synonyms in relation to how you're feeling in that very moment or have felt previously before. Then utilize the formula, I feel blank when blank. And then lastly, make sure that you are staying open and willing to receive help when it comes to navigating your emotions, or learn to actively sit in those feelings so that you can gain familiarity with them, okay? Yes. All right, y'all. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Once again, my name is Sierra Hillsman, licensed psychotherapist and wellness coach. You can reach me at legacysbks.com, and you can definitely stay connected via all platforms at legacysbks on everything. Please don't forget to check out our podcast, Legacy Speaks Podcast. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and continue to stay well during this time. See you next time.